God dang. I see why I keep my forehead put away. Golly. My God. If anybody makes any comments about my forehead, I will post your comment across all social media platforms and let everyone know that you're arachnophobic.
I don't think he went to school nowhere.
Yeah, you better watch who you're talking to, gang. Because I got on computers. I call them looters. They be on scooters. Never mind, they be at Hooters, eating wings and things, letting them TTs swing. Young Donnie D Dizzle. His family sip on that note. Cheers. Water was too fresh. Hi, my name is Donnie and welcome to the channel, or welcome back for all my returning customers. Yeah, get 'em on, get 'em on, get 'em on, get 'em on. Go, 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 go. Yeah. Guys, I'm filming late. Anytime I'm filming past 12 a.m., the video is not gonna make sense. I apologize in advance. Honestly, really and truly, if you come back to watch my videos, you're amazing. Today we're discussing Nara Smith. Nara Smith. I feel like her middle name's Nicole. Nara Nicole Smith. The TikTok chefluencer that's married to Lucky Blue Smith, former Tumblr model. He wasn't on my Tumblr feed. I wasn't on that side of Tumblr when Lucky Blue Smith was a thing. But I do know he was very popular on Tumblr for his good looks and his unique name, I think. Some odd years later, he became a model, or already was a model, I don't know. And married model Nara Nicole Smith. That's her name. I'm rolling with it. And they have now 3, I believe, beautiful children. Nara Smith seems like she's mostly a housewife these days. I don't know if she still models, probably whenever she wants to. But it seems like most of her focus is her career on TikTok. There has been discourse about Nara Smith in the past. I don't know if it's still there. Women were saying, this is Mormon propaganda. This is all fake content. And there's no possible way she's cooking dinner every night in a full face of makeup with a cute dress on. There were women that were unabashedly upset. Did I use that word right? Google that word before you leave that clip in there. And there's another subset of women that love Nara Smith, that want to be Nara Smith, and that condone Nara Smith for her making of scratch ways. People were calling her a member of the trad wife movement. I did a whole video on the beef between trad wives and working wives. If you're interested in that, link will be in my description. I wouldn't really classify Nara Smith as a trad wife. She, to my knowledge, has never said she's a trad wife. She does make a lot of things from scratch, which we'll be discussing today, but I think that's just because she's from Germany and that's what they do. We as Americans are far removed from the process of how our food is made. I'm the first one to admit it. And there is something admittedly astonishing about observing someone with such a seemingly perfect life. She has the perfect husband who's conventionally attractive, seems to make a decent amount of money, also helps with the children, and also helps cook, with a career in an industry that a lot of people wish they could have, and pretend like she cooks everything from scratch every day. And yes, I did say pretend, because there's no way I'm buying it. I'm not buying it, and I don't think it's meant to be bought. At this point, she's being facetious. Donnie, Google that word. At this point, she is actively trolling the people who are taking her seriously, thinking that every day she makes homemade Pop-Tarts for her toddlers. Like, she was posting a day in the life and people were like, there's no way that you do this every day. She never said she did it every day. She said,
today I decided.
And then a lot of people got upset about it, which just got her more engagement, which is why she keeps on doing it. Which, to be honest, at this point is genius and hilarious. And also, Nara Smith has gotten out of control. I let homemade cereal slide. I let homemade Pop-Tarts slide. Bread? Oh, so you make bread from scratch. Okay, Nara the baker Nicole Smith, that's fine. I can believe it. But the things that she's been up to recently, I will not stand for.
Today we're making some ketchup, ranch, barbecue sauce, and hot.
This is ridiculous. And I just wanted to catch you guys up on it. Let's begin, shall we? We're gonna start off with something light, maybe something you've seen before, and then we're gonna watch this get progressively out of hand.
My toddlers have been asking for marshmallows ever since we ran out, so today I decided to surprise them by making them some salted caramel marshmallows. I started by making the
These aren't regular marshmallows. She's making salted caramel marshmallows for toddlers.
It's almost hurtful to me.
These aren't kids in middle school that can go to lunch and show off their salted caramel marshmallows. These are her toddlers. And assuming she makes this regularly, these are toddlers that are gonna perceive these as regular snacks.
caramel syrup by melting down some sugar with some butter and then slowly adding in some heavy cream. I let it boil for a couple minutes and then add some flaky sea salt in before transferring it over to a glass container so that it can cool. Then I move on to making my marshmallows by combining some water and gelatin and letting that bloom. I wanted to keep these sugar-free.
Girl, what the f*** is you talking about?
Letting it bloom? What does that mean? But what's blooming here? Listen, Nara, I don't have a problem with you or your content or what you do. I'm just baffled.
So I used honey instead. Once my honey mixture was hot enough, I poured it in with the gelatin and whipped it until it was light and fluffy. In the meantime, I dusted my baking dish with some arrowroot powder and then spooned the marshmallow fluff into it. This was all very sticky, so I made sure my hands were damp before I went in to smooth it all out. My caramel sauce had cooled enough, so I put dollops on it on top of my marshmallow fluff and then swirled it in. I sprinkled some flaky sea salt on top and also some more arrowroot powder so it wouldn't stick. I let that sit for about 5 hours. And then it was ready to get sliced. I went with bigger squares and the caramel on top was so perfect.
That's amazing. It was spongy, fluffy. That's not even a marshmallow at that point. You've baked a cake. The kids gotta request their meals 1 to 2 business days in advance. I don't think that took that much work. If I personally was reading the recipe, as soon as I heard gelatin, I would have been out. Because where do you get gelatin? If you're new to Nara Smith, this is light work.
Prep to make breakfast a lot easier and quicker in the mornings. I started off by prepping some bagels. I made my dough earlier that morning and let it rise. Once it was done, I punched it to release all the air and then formed them into my little bagels. While I was forming them, I heated up some water and honey on the stove to drop them into and boil them really quickly before pulling them out and adding some toppings. I popped those in the oven and got started on making some applesauce. I've been craving applesauce.
You can't make applesauce. At least that's what I thought before I saw this. And it just makes sense, right? You just mash some apples. That's what I'm thinking. Mushed up apples. That's what I'm expecting to see here.
So much lately and my kids love it. They always have it on top of waffles or pancakes, so I made extra this week. I also had some strawberries that I wanted to use up, so I added those in as well. I boiled my apples on the stove with some water
You're killing me, Smith. Flavored applesauce.
and sweetener until they were soft and added in my strawberries before blending it up. You can get it to whatever consistency you like. At this point, my bagels were done baking, so I let them cool on my wire rack while I got started on making some cassava waffles. These are gluten-free and dairy-free. I started making them when I was struggling with eczema a lot, so they've just become a staple in our house because they're so good and I prefer them over normal waffles. I tend to make a blueberry compote every week, so that's what I did today as well.
A compote. She's making a compote. In one sitting, she's making applesauce from scratch, bagels from scratch, waffles from scratch, and we're on to a compote all in one sitting. I see why the women were mad. Someone's man getting a hold of this video makes one stupid joke.
Oh, why don't you ever make anything like this?
You murdered this man.
Yes,
You tortured him.
of course.
I let that cool and made some pickled onions and jalapenos. I used my mandolin to slice them, added some smashed garlic, my vinegar mixture, and also some chili flakes. Gave that a good mix and set that aside. We've been loving breakfast potatoes, so I also wanted to add something savory. I fried up some sausage and added broccolini to that.
This is mesmerizing. Where does she get the energy? Isn't she pregnant in this?
And then fried up my potatoes and onions separately. While that was going, I made a quick pico roll, which goes really well with the breakfast potatoes and sausage, but also on some breakfast tacos. I put that in little glass containers to cool off and waited until they were cold enough to pop a lid on top, but this is everything I prep. I love having both sweet and savory options to grab in the morning.
Oh, it's a prep, so this is like for multiple days. Woo! This is for multiple days. Everybody calm down. This is just a prep so that she doesn't have to make breakfast for the rest of the week. Deep breath. Everyone in the comments is just eating it up too. I need a Nara Smith bakery. I need a Nara Smith book recipe. If this is Nara Smith's ass, people are... Rightfully so. But do you see where I'm going here? Things are just escalating.
My husband has been loving Snickers bars, and when he was craving one today, I just decided to make him a batch myself. Started off by making
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Run that back.
My husband has been loving Snickers bars, and when he was craving one today, I just decided to make him a batch myself. Started off...
This is what I'm talking about, you know? She's joking with us. This is obviously satire. Nara, tell me this is satire. This is satire, right? You're doing this to make fun of the people who are upset about you making stuff from scratch, right? This is a joke played on the American people. This is not real.
You're sick. You need help. You're not okay.
Obviously, she's gonna make it, right? But like, I'm sure that's not her actual thought process. I'm sure in her mind she was like, oh.
The hoes gon' love this.
I'm sure of it. So let's just continue with that in mind.
Off by making some peanut butter by just blending up some dry roasted peanuts. Once that was all smooth, I set that aside and got started on my nougat.
Got started on your what?
Some dry roasted peanuts. Once that was all smooth, I set that aside and got started on my nougat. I combined
What did you just call me? Is that the correct way to say it?
nougat, combined all of my ingredients, which were sugar and water, and let that come to a boil on the stove. While that was boiling, I separated my egg whites from my yolks and made sure to have them come up to room temperature before whipping them until medium stiff peaks were forming.
Peaks?
Peaks!
Are we in the mountains? What do you mean by that? Peaks?
Good Lord, I can't.
What's next? You're gonna wait for the valley to form? After that, are you waiting for trees to sprout up? What are you talking about? Peaks?
Mixture off the stove and slowly poured it into the egg whites and mixed it on medium-high speed until it turned into a marshmallow fluff consistency. Then I spooned it out onto my baking sheet and realized that it was a little big, so I transferred it over to my square baking dish. Once it was pressed down, I popped it in the fridge for about 5 hours before starting on my caramel. I combined some sugar and salt, let that melt on the stove, and once it reached this amber color, I whisked in some heavy cream and butter. Then I incorporated some peanuts and let that cool slightly on the stove before pouring it over my set nougat. I turned my baking dish to the fridge for the caramel to set for another 30 to 45 minutes while I melted some chocolate. And then it was time to dip my bars in the chocolate, so I pulled it out the fridge, cut it into 12 equal pieces before taking one of them and dipping it in the chocolate and letting it cool down on a wire rack in the fridge. And there we had our Snickers bar.
By golly, she's done it! I've never thought that I had the tools right in my kitchen to make a Snickers bar with nougat. Nara Smith, you are onto something.
My sister's in town to visit, and she's been craving bubblegum so bad, but she ran out, so I just decided to make it for her.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Now this is where I draw the line. Things have absolutely gotten out of control. Gum? Bubble gum? Chewing gum? This is the TikTok that made me investigate. I think I gotta poop.
Much later.
Oh, so sorry. Period poops?
If you know, you know.
Where were we?
My sister's in town to visit, and she's been craving bubblegum so bad, but she ran out, so I just decided to make it for her. I poured some powdered sugar on some wax paper and created a well before combining my gum base with some corn syrup and slowly melting it.
So you just have a gum base? You may need to be evaluated, Nara. These are not normal thoughts. You're great, you're lovely, but I think I'm a bit scared of you.
Down. Once that was all melted, I gave it a good stir and poured it into my little powdered sugar wells I created. One of her favorite flavors is green apple, so I made a green apple one. And
I'm sorry, if your favorite flavor of gum is green apple, you and me, we are not meant to be friends.
Experimented with making a cinnamon vanilla gum. Once the mix...
I'm sorry, but are these not the worst flavors of gum? Is it me? Maybe I'm the problem.
Then I rolled out my gum, cut it into equal pieces, and decided to go for a little gum ball. Once all the green apple ones were formed, I moved on to my cinnamon vanilla ones and set them aside before tossing them in some more powdered sugar. To keep them fresh, I placed them in some wax paper, twisted the sides, and repeated that process with all of them.
She made this stuff like it was saltwater taffy. Got it packaged up and everything. What can't you make? Who has gum base lying around at home? No, because I'm starting to get competitive. Get me a recipe and a goddamn KitchenAid and I can do it too. Jolly Ranchers, what do you want? I'll make it. I'll make something right now. Dare me.
Dare me right now.
Now I do think Nara Smith thinks she's better than me. Bubblegum, what is wrong with these people? All has to be for jokes and engagement. It has to be.
This morning, my husband ran out of the moisturizer that he usually uses, and he didn't love it enough to repurchase, so he just decided to make his own.
Don't piss me off. We've graduated from meals to skincare. Skincare from scratch. I'm not watching this.
Some boiling water. Once everything was melted down, he turned off the heat before he mixed some squalene and jojoba oil, which he poured back into the melted beeswax and beef tallow before giving that a good stir, taking that off the heat, and adding the last 3.
What? Beef tallow? Is that what she... Is there an esthetician in the house? Can I get some feedback on this? Is this ethical? Is this right? Are they doing this right here? Where's the dermatologist girlies? Is this legit? Are they yanking my chain? If I don't see a as a dermatologist comment down below, I'm starting a beard care kit. Homemade from scratch. I'm doing something. They can just do this. We can just do this.
Things, which was some vitamin E oil, hyaluronic acid, and glycerin. He made sure to give it a mix after adding each ingredient, and at the end...
Glycerin, kind of a cute name. Hold on. No, listen.
Is Glycerin here today?
Glycerin, come here.
It is a bit close to glizzy. Maybe too close to glizzy.
Just mixed it until it was all combined. Once combined, he transferred it over to a little glass jar. He made sure to fill it all the way to the top before scraping off any extra, popped on the lid, and transferred it over to the fridge to set. Later that night, when we got out the shower, we decided to test it. I struggle with eczema and really dry skin, so he didn't add any essential oils, so it would also work for me. We loved it.
The Smith household is out of control. Something must be done. At this point, y'all just playing. This is stressing me out. I can only bear a few more minutes of these mannequins living out their perfect lives.
I couldn't stop thinking about sticky chicken tenders all day long, and even though it was way too late to be in the kitchen cooking...
What do you mean way too late to be in the kitchen? You're in a ball gown.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Am I missing something here? Oh, were you getting ready for bed in your sequin dress? I see why people were hating. I feel attacked.
To make it, I started off by making my own hot sauce by combining some fresh
hot sauce. Why don't I think of these things? Can you please make me a master's degree from scratch, Nara? Okay, this has to be the last one.
This morning, my toddlers woke up with a cough and a little bit of a sore throat, and I don't usually keep cough drops or traditional medicine in the house.
First of all, what do you keep in the house?
Answer me! I'm asking you a question!
No cereal, no Pop-Tarts, no candy, no Snickers, but you have whatever you needed to make gum. You had that though. I'm not gonna let you get to me. Cool, you're gonna make some medicine. People make homemade remedies, that's a thing all the time. What we thinking? We got ginger lemon, we're gonna make some tea.
Make lemon ginger and elderberry cough drops. I poured some honey into my pot and then moved on to peeling my ginger. Didn't want to use too...
I can't do it! I can't. You are stressing me the hell out. I can't do it. I'm done.
No, of course we're not making tea. Of course we're making cough drops. I know I said I drew the line, but my foot is down. I won't stand for this. I'm sacked.
It to be too spicy for them, so I just eyeballed it and then also added some elderberry and about half a lemon.
Oh, I just want to... I will bust you in.
In the meantime, I prepped my mold. Once my honey was hot enough and reached the hard crack stage, I spooned it into my mold. I had to work quickly because towards the end, my honey began to thicken. Popped those in the fridge to harden quicker, and then when they were cooled off, I popped them out of their molds. I laid them on some arrowroot powder to prevent them from sticking, but you can also use cornstarch or powdered sugar. These were so soothing.
That's it. She won. You win. Life, it's yours. I'ma head out. Someone said she's showing us how easy it is to make stuff from scratch. I'm sorry, but chemistry wasn't my best subject. I understand why the Europeans feel better than the Americans now. I do. That's it for me. I'm gonna go reevaluate my life choices and figure out how to grow quesadillas from scratch. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. Do you like Nara Smith? Do you hate Nara Smith? Do you think she's dead ass? Or is this all a joke? She's just being funny, having a little fun. Am I overreacting? I don't know what to do. I have to go. I have to think about some things. If you watched to the end of the video, thank you. If you chose to like this video, thank you. If you chose to subscribe, honestly, look at you and your beautiful face. It couldn't get any more beautiful. Thank you. If you've been subscribed,
Oh, my mama, we
yeah. Love you, bye. I think they should have named the baby New York Cheesecake Smith, because that eats, personally, if you